Hi, I'm Jason Sutter. I'm old enough to know how to do it and young enough to look good doing it. I'm kidding.
Yes, that's Jason Sutter from Los Angeles in the United States. You are visiting Europe right now.
I am, indeed.
Mostly music stores and drum shows.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm on a 14-date clinic tour. It started with the Poland drum show, drum festival, and then is ending at the London drum show. And then in the middle, I've been to Italy, Sweden, where else? France, and now Germany. And then soon the UK.
Cool. That's quite a trip.
Yeah, it's about 23 days. Kind of wild. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Jason loves and lives rock and roll, especially when he plays every gig as if it's his last.
Agreed.
Okay. Find out more about Jason in a second.
I'm born in Potsdam, New York, upstate New York, near Canada, and now I'm living in Los Angeles. The artist I last toured with was Matsumoto. I'm a drummer. I guess I'm known as a rock player. Yeah, I use Ludwig drums and Paiste cymbals, Remo drum heads, Canopus snare wire, DW 9000 series hardware, and Regal tip sticks. I've got a signature stick called the Chopstick, pretty stoked about. Kind of a rad tip, and sounds great on ride cymbals and hi-hats. And I've got a brush called the Sutter, that's blue, and it's a thicker gauge wire than the classic, but still a medium gauge, so it has flex. So check them out. Probably Bunny Carlos from Cheap Trick. Probably that's maybe, I don't know, Kiss, maybe, knowing Kiss, probably the band Kiss, maybe. Student. For me, I've always loved playing drums. It's a really physical instrument, so I think there's a real connection. Physically, I think it's fun to play, but also I think as a drummer you can really dictate the volume, especially, and the direction of a band on a given night and on a given song. So to me, I think that's really exciting to be able to have that much control. You're kind of the traffic cop on stage, so it's kind of fun. It's really tough. That's always the toughest question, I think, but if you haven't heard of, Tony Williams, check out Tony Williams, Miles Davis, 4 and More, Jack DeJohnette, anything he's ever played on the ECM label. That's a great label in the late 70s to check out really good jazz and great touch and sound production. And, God, that's just a really tough question, so many bands. I generally tend to listen to, currently I'm listening to a lot of old blues, Howlin' Wolf and Muddy Waters and old blues for some reason, which isn't very drummy, but I don't know, that's what I'm into right now. I guess, that's tough to say. I think, I moved to Los Angeles, in 2000, and I moved there, I didn't know anybody, and I thought the more time I spend here, I think it's the best investment at that time in my career. I thought I'm going to move here and give it a shot, and I did. And I think my goal was to be on the road and tour and travel the world, and I'm still doing it thanks to that move. I think it really helped. So, yeah. I learned a lot from all the drummers I've ever known. I'm constantly learning from great drummers and great players, and obviously musicians. But as far as the art of drumming, you know, from hanging with, whether I'm in Nashville, hanging with my Nashville drum posse, or in Los Angeles, hanging with my, and there's many different, you know, groups in each one of those cities, you know, of drummers. But I think drummers are kind of communal and are pretty giving. So yeah, it's I've learned a lot from hanging out with different drummers. Definitely in college, you know, I went to college with Jim Riley and Keith Carlock and Blair Sinta and you know, more drummers than I can name, really. So many great players, Matt Chamberlin, Earl Harvin, great players that I could go see or sit in and watch, you know, in a bar, or, you know, just be around or sit outside of their practice room. And so I think that was, that's one of the biggest, and not to mention my teachers, you know, like Ed Soph, while I was down there, you know, it was huge to get to watch him play as well as get lessons, so. I'm inspired by, I think, life, traveling, being here in Munich is inspiring. You know, when I'm done with this, I'm going to go walk through the town and soak it up. As even though I'm only here for one day, I always try to like get out of the hotel room and go to an art museum in Paris. I got to go see a pretty unique show from a Russian collector at the Louis Vuitton Foundation, which was amazing. I had like an hour to see something, and that's where I went, you know, other than driving around and seeing, of course, the Eiffel Tower. But I think it's important to get out and, you know, just to get out and, you know, whether it be fine art or, you know, a performance or a movie or something, I think life in general is inspiring. Right now I'm working at becoming a better clinician, to be honest. Today I have a clinic here in Munich, and, you know, every day I'm trying to get better at it. You know, I just did a snare drum clinic utilizing like 3 snare drums with brushes and then 2 drums for marching, and it was a demo for Ludwig at Musikproduktiv, the Mesa, the festival, which was incredible. And, you know, they asked me to do a snare drum, you know, clinic, and I've never done that before, and so that was really challenging. And so it's fun to be able to put what I've learned on this instrument from touring all these years into hopefully a concise form and be able to demonstrate the instrument as well as you know, the technique that goes along with it. So that's kind of fun for me right now. You know, honestly, the dream gig is not one gig to me. It never has been. The idea of being in one band was never my goal. I played in bands, signed record deals. That was exciting. I think it's important to have a band, especially when you're younger. But at the same time, I think my goal, my dream gig was always to be able to go from gig to gig to gig. And I'm doing it. And sometimes it's a lot of work, but I enjoy being able to play one style and then switching gears and playing another, and from metal to rock to pop, you know, to jazz. And, you know, getting to do this last Matsumoto gig in Japan was an instrumental gig where I got to play a lot. I covered a lot of styles, and that was pretty satisfying. It was really fun. There's a live DVD, live at the Budokan, that just came out, Matsumoto 2016. And, you know, I don't know what's next. You know, I never know what's next. And that is the dream gig for me, you know. And, you know, to have played with all these bands already, I've kind of been fortunate to kind of live out those dream gigs, you know. You know, my motto is, I'm old enough to know how to do it and young enough to look good doing it. I'm kidding. That's something I made up once as a joke, but you're hearing it here. No, I don't know if I have a life motto. I really don't know. I mean, you know, I guess do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. I think this is a people business, and you'd hope that, you know, you try to treat people well, and hopefully they'll treat you well, and you pass it on, you know. And if I can ever recommend somebody for a gig, I will, and I have, and it feels great. And I've been recommended for gigs too, and so it's like that kind of positive flow, I think, is important.
So, Jason, we are in a music store. It's called Hieber Lindberg here in Munich, and we are in the drum department. For me, it used to be a little bit of paradise when I was younger.
Yeah.
How does it feel to you?
It's a great drum shop. I mean, everybody here is fantastic. It's been great hanging with Frank and Jürgen, especially. I've been getting schooled on old K cymbal facts.
I was wondering, you are very well equipped. You are an endorsee of several drum companies. So when you go to a music store, what are you looking for?
For me, it's just fun to try different instruments and, you know, just see what else is out there. And, you know, because a lot of times I'm fortunate enough to be able to go to, say, you know, Paiste headquarters in Brea, California, which is near me, or Remo, which is only like, you know, a half hour from my house. And a lot of times when I go there, I can actually experiment and try find new sounds, you know. So for me, I don't get into music stores that often. So when I do, it's fun to just go around and just like, I guess, like a little kid again, hit everything and see what else is out there, you know. It's kind of inspiring.
Okay. And do you have a favorite percussion instrument?
You know, I'm not sure if I have a favorite percussion instrument. That's a good question. I don't know. You know, the clave is pretty awesome. You know, sounds pretty amazing. If you had to pick one, the clave rules. It basically dictates a whole entire style of music, kind of. You know, for those one instrument, two pieces of wood. So, kind of got to give the clave some credit. So.
Good. So mainly, I have one big question. I used to teach, and I kind of failed regularly in teaching kids the double stroke roll.
Okay.
And you are an expert in rudiments and marching drums. You were schooled very well.
I tried, you know. Yeah, I try.
Do you have a good approach how to master the double stroke roll?
Yeah, absolutely. For a double stroke roll, I think one of the best and quickest, you know, lessons I can give is when you're practice it very slow. And a lot of drummers try to, they tend to accent the downbeat or the first note of the doubles. And I would recommend, it's kind of a little secret technique. I think I've heard Dave Weckl talk about it before, where you practice very slowly and try to accent or pull out the second note. And if you do that, it's going to force you to use more fingers and wrists and get a little more of a snap out of the roll. And so when you speed it up, if you practice it that way slowly, you're going to get a much cleaner, even roll. Most drummers, I think, in the beginning, it's kind of called the doggy paddle, where you let the first note hit and the second one just kind of follows, using gravity, which is what comes natural. But I think if you, for just a basic across the board, quick pointer, I would say practice it very slow and accent the second note. Slowly, and then start speeding that up. And as you get faster, it will start to even out, but it'll be a cleaner roll because the second note is what's heard, and usually it's what's not, and that's when you get a bad double stroke.
Okay. And since we are in a drum store and you are set up with 3 or even 4 snare drums, could you show us?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, cool. So let's go over into the other room.
So the exercise, basically, what I'm talking about, very slowly, you would actually practice it. And then faster. And then a little faster. And then when you play even like a roll, you kind of don't necessarily, as you get faster, you're not going to actually play the accent, but you'll feel the accent, and you'll get a very clear second note. Cool. Double stroke roll.
Okay, so now you know how old you have to be in the business, and how to learn a double stroke roll, and what to do if you only have an hour in a town you're visiting. Use it well. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to hear your clinic, and thank you for watching. Do so more often. Bye.
It's super easy.